All right, Coach Lee here. Let's talk about the 4 basic strategies of racing a TT. This past weekend, we had one of the most amazing showdowns in Roanoke, Virginia that any race has seen this side of the Mississippi in at least the last 20 years. It was an epic tale of Beauty and the Beast, David and Goliath, age versus youth, love and betrayal. I mean, to tell you, this TT had it all. So let's talk about the TT. Let's talk about the 4 strategies, and let's talk about the most important thing: second place overall male, overall masters male, right here. Let's jump in. All right, so the race is up an iconic mountain here in the Blue Ridge Mountains called Mill Mountain. It's a very huge tourist destination for anybody coming to this region, especially during the fall. There's this huge star here that was put up, I believe, back in the 50s by merchants to start advertising for Christmas. And so it's always been there. It's a staple, and you got to go. So this is the top of the mountain. Here's the bottom of the mountain, and here is the elevation. It's basically straight up. The average grade is 7%, but you're going to get 10% in there, 11, 12% in there. And this was the name of the race. Thanks, those guys did a great job putting this on, and great sponsors, great team, and we really hope to see them next year. So basically, 4 strategies. Hard start. All right. Here's your elevation. This gold is your power data. This red line is your threshold. So basically, because this is such a short race, it's only 1.9 miles. It's only going to take you probably, around 10 minutes. If you're fit, it's going to take you somewhere probably around 10 minutes or so. The winner of the day was at 8 minutes. And I believe Phil Gaiman has came here, and he's done it around 8 minutes. And a lot of people come here to race this segment. So there's basically 4 strategies that you can do. All right, so hard start. This is what so many people do. When I get a new client, this is what they're going to want to do. They're just going to want to go get it right out of the gun, nail it, drill it, and then you just die 1,000 deaths towards the end of the race. And so the expectation is that you're just going to rock out that hard start and be able to keep your power above your threshold all the way to the top. But the reality of the situation is that you go out too hard, and then you fade, and then you fade, and then you fade, and then you barely cross that finish line. Every strategy has workouts that go with them very well. And here's a great strategy, a great workout to go with this strategy. If this is your chosen strategy, and you could use this strategy, you can make a case for this strategy. These are called hard start intervals. Basically what they do is they train you to go great hard right off the gun. They fill your legs with lactic acid and other byproduct and waste product, and then teach your body how to use those byproducts, waste products, whatever, for the rest of the interval. It's a classic interval, and it's one that even if you don't race this way, that you should be doing these intervals throughout your season. Next one, even Steven. So you just start out at, so say your FTP is 300, you just start out at 320 watts, and you just stay 320 watts all the way. A great interval workout for this is, 2x20s. This is a great way to train and pace yourself evenly. All right. The next one, negative splits. This is one that I really like, and I train this way. I have a mountain, right outside my door. It's 3.5 miles long. I love to do this, right? This is where you start right around your threshold, and you're looking at average watts, and you just slowly tick up your watts. You slowly tick up your power so that you actually end stronger than when you began, and so that your entire ride is above threshold. This is a very productive and a great way to do an interval. Then here is the workout for this, right? So you can start right here at FTP. You do this, like say a 10% bump, and then this is another 10% bump. Rest again. It's a great series of intervals to do. And even if this is not your chosen means of your strategy, this is something that you want to do in your workouts throughout the season. All right. Hard finish. This is a great one. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is that you race pretty hard. You keep you're even Steven. And then the last couple minutes, you just give it all that you have. Okay. Here's a great workout for that. Hard finishes. Sometimes these are called race winning intervals because this looks like a race. You know, you're going hard towards that finish line. And in the last minute or so, you've just got to give it all you've got. And so race winning intervals, this is a great workout for that. And again, this is a great series of workouts that you should be doing year round, no matter what. Like these are really great workouts to do. All right, hard start, hard finish. This one's pretty self-explanatory as well. This is where you go hard and then you relax, you recover, and then you go hard once again, right? And here is the classic workout for this. Hard starts, hard finish. Hard starts, hard finish, hard starts, hard finish. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, here's what I chose to do, all right? So this is my actual power data. This is the thing. And so I rocked it out. One of the things that I did that, you know, you have to have fun at these. You have to, you know, really enjoy these. And you have to do everything to squeak out that little extra whatever that you got. So I'm great in the cold weather. So it was 40 degrees at the start. I have a short sleeve speed suit on. I'm completely warmed up. I'm ready to go. But I did something that was pretty cool. Someone mentioned that they were going to be up there to cheer me on at the end. And I knew that this woman who I have recently met is absolutely such a singular human being that her being at the top of that finish line, 5 watts, baby. That's 5 watts. All right, so let's dig into my effort and what I did. Now, the biggest thing is that you have to look at when you're creating the strategy that you want to do, you have to look at the terrain, right? So how do you choose a strategy? Well, 2 things. Your terrain, 3 things. The terrain, the weather involved, right? Where's the wind coming from? Things like that. But your psychology as an athlete, your psychology when you're at the rivet, right? When you're just going as hard as you can, your psychology plays a huge role. So your strategy needs to be all about the terrain. It needs to be all about the weather, and it needs to be about your psychology. So I had been doing some intervals. I was not trained up for this. This is the end of the year, but I had about a month to prepare for this. And so what I chose was the hard start, hard finish approach. And here's why. When you're looking at the terrain, the steeper the pitch, the better relationship between watts and time. All right. So that's where you get time on a course often is when that really pitches up. All right. And then when it's flatter, the relationship between watts and time, they get wider. All right. So keep that in mind. And so that's basically my strategy. All right. So this beginning, it's actually really steep. And so I chose a hard start. And again, I practiced this beforehand in doing workouts. I did a hard start. Then there's this, which you can see. You can see that there was this little switchback. And right here, so, you can go on the outside of the switchback, which is narrower and shallower, or you can go straight up that switchback, which is steeper, which takes more power. Because we're in a TT race, because we're all on the line, I went straight up that thing. All right, so right here. So this blue line is fascinating. This really shows you my effort. So the blue line represents what's, I talk about this a lot, your functional reserve capacity, W prime it's often called. It's referred to, as your anaerobic battery, that when you go above your threshold, you start tapping into that battery. And that's what the blue line shows. So when the blue line goes down, I'm tapping into the battery. All right, let's look at that. So right off the bat, you can see I'm really tapping into my battery. And then what do? I relax a little bit. I'm still going threshold right here. But when you're going threshold, you slowly start to refresh that battery. And that's what this is what this shows. I'm refreshing the battery, and then it's all on the line. It's nail it, it's gun it, it's do whatever you got to go. And right here, I had this planned out. So I knew this spot right here. I knew that I was going to throw it into my big ring and then just completely sprint right around here, which is exactly what I did. So I got to that flat spot, slammed it into my big ring, went to a hard all-out sprint all the way up for those final, 50, 75 yards. There was another guy in front of me, just completely flew right about him. And on this day, right, I absolutely 100% believe I did my best effort possible at 315 watts. My normal 10 minutes, so this takes about 10 minutes. This is 13 minutes. So my normal 13-minute would be about 335 watts when I'm trained up in the spring and I'm doing tons of intervals, to get me ready for racing and things like that. But this was the end of the season, and I decided to do this, I guess, about a month ago. And the number one strategy that I employed is that you cannot cram for the exam. And so I really familiarized myself with the route. I really practiced the type of intervals at my zone levels, at my wattage, at my threshold. I did those, according to where I was at the time. And so that was most important. And so using power meter, using strategy on this day, I got, not only did I set my PR up this mountain by a long shot, but on this day, I squeezed the absolute most out of me that I could. Now, how did my strategy work? Well, the chick that was up there that was going to be screaming my name as I crossed the finish line, she gave me that 5 watts. That 5 watts mattered, and it got me second place. But yeah, she didn't show up. So here's some strategies, right? First, again, everyone, this is fun. We're having fun. You got to celebrate your success. So you got to have fun at the podium ceremony. You relax, you have fun, and just let it all sit in. And the organizers did a great job at assembling all the awards, all the presents, gift certificates, all this great stuff. All right. So what are some key things that we can take from this? Well, the number one rule of all in TTs is show up on time. Show up on time, show up on time, show up on time, right? So there were hard starts for this TT. You had a starting time. Show up on time. Make sure that your gears are ready and that you are solid and ready to go out. Match your strategy to course. So pick a strategy, like think one of those 4 strategies, and there are more strategies. Okay. So for me, I know like my best times are actually not a hard start, hard finish, or any of the strategies that we discussed. I'll get to that in just one moment. Match your strategy to course. Okay. So if it's if it shoots straight up right out of the gate, then you're going to want to go harder to get time. 3, understand who you are. Now, this is crucial because you are at your limit. This is so connected to your psychology. And for me, I have infinite ability to do intervals, practice TTing right out my door. I've got, like I said, I have a 3.5 mile, 8% climb. I can practice all these techniques on. I have enough data to show like where I am. And for me, psychologically, actually the best thing to do is, 30 seconds way above threshold, 30 seconds below threshold, 30 seconds way above threshold, all the way up a thing where I'm out of the saddle. I'm sitting, right? And it works for me. I've produced my best times in a 20-minute TT by going hard, letting off, going hard, letting off. But that plays into my psychology. I'm still looking at my average watts. I'm still, racing according to that power meter. But my psychology, that's just how it works. I just like to go hard, let off, go hard, go hard. That just sitting there even Steven for 20 minutes is just mentally excruciating for me. So psychologically, I like to break that all up. All right, so understand who you are. Then train to your specific strategy. Once you get a strategy for that TT, once you really understand it, you want to do the intervals to match your strategy. That helps you psychologically, that helps you physiologically, all around, right? So it does a great job. All right. Then, most important, have your podium speech ready, baby. And right here, I may be the first person who's top podium on this day. He didn't show up. So I may be the second place podium winner in history that actually gave a speech on race day. It was pretty funny. But again, you gotta have fun with this stuff. Now, this is part 3 of a 3-part series on pacing that I've done. The first is all about training with intervals, and these links will be in the show notes. So, training with intervals, how do you use your power meter? How do you set your screens up, right, to pace? That's all in that video. The second video is pacing an actual race course. So once you know how to set up your Garmin, your head unit, use your head unit, then let's go out and pace an actual course. And then this 3, of course, was the 4 strategies to pacing. Now, if you want to reach out to me, contact information, Lee@pro13.com, Lee@pro13.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let's rock it out, everybody.